Sorry, excuse me. I have to do this.
There we go.
Hello? Yeah. Yeah.
We'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. And I'll ask the clerk if anyone is participating electronically.
Yes, we have two members of the public on tonight.
Thank you for that. And first on, number 3 is the adoption of the agenda. I need a mover and a seconder. Being moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Levesque, being resolved that this meeting agenda dated Monday, June 8th, 2026 be adopted. Questions, comments? None. Call for a vote. All in favor? Carried. Anybody have a conflict of interest to disclose? None. In the adoption of the minutes. I need a mover and a seconder.
Sorry, Your Worship.
No problem.
I'm gonna put up flight mode if I can get, I'll make it. There you go, thank you.
Okay, motion is moved by Councillor Levesque, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that council adopt the minutes of the regular meeting on May 25, 2026 as circulated. Questions, comments? None. Call for a vote. All in favor? Carried. Okay, number 7 is notice of motions. We have one motion here to pass. I need a mover and a seconder. This was part of the correspondence of last meeting, and it was asked to be brought back to this meeting. Moved by Councillor Levesque, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Mattawa supports the Town of Aylmer's resolution regarding a call for action for justice and protection of Canada's children. And further that this resolution be forwarded to the Prime Minister of Canada, the Premier of Ontario, the Attorney General of Ontario, the Solicitor General of Ontario, the Minister of Justice, the Attorney General of Canada, Nipissing District MPP and MP, FNOM, AMO, and all municipalities in Ontario. Questions, comments? None. Call for a vote. All in favor? Carried. Next part of the agenda is the correspondence. Okay, 8.1, Castleholm 2026 municipal operating levy. Questions or comments? None. 8.2, Castleholm again, quarterly capital levy. Questions, comments? Councillor Hubert.
I would like to make a motion that we exit from the Castle Home Board. I know we do this all the time, but I'd like to do it again and make it known that we want out. Like I know that your worship has been pushing and our CAO, and I want to do another one just to say that, hey, we want out. That's
Be on
it.
the record.
Yeah, we've been doing this for 15 years for crying out loud. You know, we want out, period.
I'll support your motion.
Thank you.
Okay, if I may,
Yes,
4 municipalities looking for the exit, being Papineau, Cameron, Calvin, Matawan, and Mattawa. Under the permission of this board, this council, and of their council, we've hired a lobbyist. The lobbyist has went to the ministry on our behalf. And that part is taken care of. And our lobbyist has also met last week with the Castle Home Board to push and the mayors and CEOs of the 4 municipalities are meeting again Wednesday. Just to give you an update, so it's not forgotten, it's
I know
not
it's not
stopped,
forgotten.
but if you want to get your motion ready.
Yeah, I do want, but I want them to know that we're still, but I don't want to jeopardize
Yeah.
what the lobbyists or what you and the CEO have done.
You want to get your motion prepared?
So I thought that you would do. I
I
like,
know I need direction on what you would like to say in this motion.
well, I want
So I
to,
pass it tonight,
Just
or
if
do
we
you
want-
want to do one for the next meeting?
well, we can do one for the next meeting, but all I want to do is let them know that we damn well want out, not a little pussyfooting around, we want out.
Okay.
So-
Councillor Gardner first.
Yeah, I was just gonna add to that. I don't know if you've seen the article in the news last week. About the gentleman that's arguing our case for us, and it seemed like it kind of stirred some feathers, and it was in the news, and it seems like it's having more attention brought to it in the public eye. So yeah, I agree, but we need to get out ASAP yesterday. But yeah, I think it's in the process.
Is there some way we could say that we support the lobbyist or we support that it's happening, but we want to make sure that they know that we want out, that's all I'm saying, so.
Yeah. So I'll ask the CEO and then I'll come to.
Yeah, just
Councillor
echo what Councilor Seaver is saying. I like the, nothing wrong with pushing a motion forward. I think for consideration, whenever we have this group of 4 meeting, we're always battling with each other as to, we're supposed to be a united front, and one party goes out and does something on their own, and another party goes out and does something on their own, and we're disjointed, and we're not really a collective force. And I think if we send out this motion tonight, we're gonna be doing the same thing, and it's not to say that they're not in favor of it, but we're gonna look like we're the ones going wrong, and since we're meeting on Wednesday, I just wondered if it's wise to go to the group on Wednesday when we meet and say, we're going to issue a motion to do just what you said, but all councils, all before, then we're all doing the same thing at the same time, and we look a little bit organized.
Well, even if we could make the motion to that group instead of to the Castle Home, would make it to that group saying, we support you 100% and we want out,
Sure,
and keep pushing or whatever.
I like that.
I mean, I've been listening to this for 15 years at this table, and it's just sad, and the price keeps going up and up, and I think the price that we agreed to was $375 or something like that back then.
You keep bringing that up, try 2 million.
No, but I mean back when we agreed.
That's so
Yeah.
far back, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't matter, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying we agreed to pay that
The
amount.
the last
Now
council,
it's $2 million.
the last council, councillor voted in favor of the numbers that were forwarded at the time, and the town committed to a $801,000 guarantee to Infrastructure Ontario. It was that or the redevelopment wouldn't have happened. So that's where we sit. And since then, well, we all know that if COVID happened, the prices have gone through the roof and all that, but the town of Mattawa through that council did agree to pay the construction, that's one thing. We're still trying to get out of the, and you use the word pussyfoot, it's been nothing but that, like, it's been heated for probably ever since we got rid of the lawyer and got this lobbyist to work in the favor of the group of four. Like I said, he started at the provincial level. He got the answers he was looking for there. Now we're dealing with the Board of Management of Castleholm. But I'm not telling you not to put a motion, I'm just telling you where we're at. And the CEO is right. Other the municipalities went rogue and tried to do stuff on their own where they had to rescind it because province looks at it like you guys can't even get along. So how do you know, it's either we're dealing with a cohesive unit, a unit that wants the same thing and agree to the same principles, or you know, we're not gonna entertain it. So that's where we're at. So I do like that give us an opportunity to tell the other three municipalities at our next meeting. We have a counselor that's gonna bring a motion forward to you know, that enough is enough, we want out, period. And then they have a chance to do, and if something comes out of it where the lobbyist says, hold the bus, we shouldn't, that's why we hired this guy. I don't know if that's fair or.
Yeah, I think it's all right. I think I'll sit down with Paul and Amy and come up with a motion for the next council meeting and we'll, but I didn't mean by pussyfooting, it's just an expression, okay? I come from the valley, pussyfooting is a real word over there, so, you know.
I come
Anyway,
from there too.
yeah, I know.
Uh,
Okay,
you had-
I agree with that. That's
You
great.
had a question?
Yeah,
Councillor
I
Levesque?
just, when you do that motion, we should make it big enough that Papineau, Cameron, Matawan, and Calvin Township can all be part of that signature part. So in other words, I want every councillor is here to sign it. I want every councillor in Papineau, Cameron, and Calvin Township to sign it also. Just say to how well united we are to get this off our hands. And another thing, if you notice, Paul, is that they're building another structure here now. I was passed by there today and they're putting the pylons in the ground. And I heard there's supposed to be another 12th floor going up on next to the castle arm. So I hope we don't get caught with this too. So just keep that in mind and just somebody, you should question them when you go on Wednesday to see what's going on and what's that building for that they're building. So we don't get caught. If you don't mind.
Councillor Gardner?
Just to clarify, on Wednesday, the meeting is with the four municipalities?
Yes.
Okay. This is not with them. Again, I was just, if you haven't had a chance to read that article, it's worth reading. It was on Day Today last week. I wasn't aware that their reasoning. So we're talking about an agreement that was supported by the board in January of 2019 for the exit for our municipalities. And their argument is that they later passed a motion in November of 2021, which rescinded the provisions related to South Algonquin, which also affected the exit framework for the rest of the municipalities. So that's their argument. Whether we agree or not is different, but that was news to me on kind of where they're standing, like what their side of it is.
Okay, and we'll find out Wednesday. The meeting is virtual with CG Group out of the GTA, and he provided everything that you've just read into an email, which I've distributed to all the mayors and CEOs. So that's where we're at.
Okay, I'll agree to your worship, I'll agree to the point that we bring it up on Wednesday and let them know that there is a motion gonna be coming forward, that we support the group and hope that they can, I don't know, move their
Brussels.
Yeah, whatever the hell you call it, that's.
Any other questions or comments? None? Okay, 8.3, Ministry of the Attorney General, follow up the updates to tailgate event permits under the Liquor License and Control Act 2019. Questions, comments? Councilor Levesque?
This tailgate party thing, I know that at our hockey tournament for the firemen, it's pretty hard to keep the people in the hall and enjoying themselves and drinking beer and converse and then part of the dance while we're having a party outside. Which is not very good, especially it's a public place. If you're gonna have these types of parties, you should be on your own property or right now it hurts because you lose money on your bar, and that's what people depends on when they have a function to pay their bills.
Any other comments? Councilor Gardner?
Am I misunderstanding? Like, you still have to have permission through the municipality, correct?
I read
what
it,
you're asking.
and
Is that what I understood?
I read it, and there's more than one angle to it. I need more information.
That's a good idea.
Oh,
Yeah, like it says here that municipalities may establish their own local processes to determine which events qualify and the form of municipal designation. I think it would be up to the municipality to decide which of those events qualify, and I don't think that we have, what's the word I'm looking for, like college or university sports or anything like that we have to worry about that people would be tailgating at. No, I'm not oblivious. I think people are drinking at those hockey tournaments and stuff like that. At the same time, I think that's a police issue. That's drinking in public. If they don't have a license and it's not in a designated area, then
I know that I looked at the three questions on it. Why did the government make this change? It's to provide greater flexibility for some event organizer, potentially reducing costs and increasing attendance. And they use examples here, movie screening, municipal park may invite more of a picnic atmosphere, and thus organizer may prefer to bring your own permit. The province recognized that this permit may not be relevant to all. Events that rely on alcohol sales do not use bring your own model may continue to operate as usual. What considerations were made for safety? All the same rules apply. So you're taking on a bigger, you'll need more security and so on and so forth. That's why I said before I would agree to it. And it says here, what if you still have questions? Well, we would have questions. Do we want to? Does this council want to
Deferred.
pursue it further, or?
Yes.
I feel like it's low on the list, but it might make sense to have a policy in place. Just if someone does come to us and want to have a tailgate party, then we know what's the process and we don't have to wing it. But again, I think it's pretty low on the list, but it wouldn't hurt to have a policy.
So can we ask staff to reach out to the province and get more information on this, please? Any other questions or comments? None? 8.4, Township of Brudenell, Lindock and Raglan, Canada Post rate reduction for libraries. Questions, comments? None? 8.5, Let's Remember Adam, request for arena fees waived. And I'll throw in, because it's the same letter, 8.6. Mattawa Community Living request for arena fees waived. Questions, comments? Councilor Levite.
I think we should. Adam's washer tournament brings in a lot of people. They're sold out already in their teams. They give money back into the communities through different organizations. They help. And if we're going to give the arena for free for the antique cars, why can't we just do the same thing for an organization that is creating safety on buses, spending money on signs on the highways to tell people don't drink and drive. And besides that, they help different organizations and they work hard for hours. And my daughter's one of them, works there to help out. So I think we should consider and let them have the arena for this time and let's see what happens next year if they continue with it or not. For the community living, well, they have it every year and I think they're serving the food there, if I'm not mistaken. They have the barbecue. So I don't know why we charging, or that's for a separate washer. It's a different one? Okay. So I want to deal with one, not with two. I'm going to deal with not Anderson, I'm sorry, Gary. Deal with the Ranger one, and then I don't mind going to the other one after.
Councilor Gardner?
Yeah, so I wasn't aware that we had an event. I know that it took place a little while back with the cars. I wasn't aware that they didn't pay. I'd be curious to just check on that and make sure that that's the case. So I'll just kind of start by like I really appreciate all that the Let's Remember Adam campaign does, and you know they're a big part of getting that message out there, and you know they've done a lot to help with school bus safety since they've started their initiative. I think like for 3 years we've been asking staff to kind of come up with some sort of a policy for these things because they always come forward and all these requests always come, and we just said like we need something that just people come in and they get the answer right away. And I agree that in this letter, I think it says that some people are getting it, some people aren't. I agree. It should be across the board. It should be the same across the board. And if they've come up with a 50% formula, like I'm okay with that. There is a cost to running the arena, having staff there, you know, clean up afterwards, bathrooms and all that stuff. So I think having the building for the day for $350 is a fair price. You know, I'm thinking like staff wise, we're probably spending more than that. So at least it'd be nice to break even. I know that they do have a lot of people attend. So I you know, hopefully it goes well for them again this year. I'd like to see us stick to what our policy. If we have a policy or a procedure now that says 50%, I'd like to stick to that for everybody. Not just kind of picking and choosing. You know, if they're, I think they said that it had to be a nonprofit organization. So if you're a nonprofit organization, fine, 50%. And they'll just end with so that I would support them being charged the $367.50. Is that right? No, $357.50. And the other my colleagues at the table would like to join in with me. I would donate $100 of my council pay towards covering their costs for them, and then we fulfill our end of upholding our policy and not setting the precedent that we go around it by writing a letter, but at the same time also giving back with some of the money that we take from our constituents. So I'd welcome other councillors to join in on that and help cover it for Let's Remember Adam.
Okay. Councilor Kabir?
I know I was told, now I'll have to check with Mr. Sarzan. I was told that the car show got the arena for free, okay? But what I'm thinking is, I don't know when that event took place, but it could have been after we made or before we did the 50% policy. It could have been before that, I'm not sure. Was it before that? Yeah, so that was done. But when we made the policy to pay 50%, that this year's and the community living one is after our policy was made. So our policy says 50%. I think that's a damn good rate. We've been losing money on that building forever, and we got to do something to at least bring it up to a point where at least it pays for itself. I know it's a recreation building, and I know maybe it might never pay for itself, but if we keep giving it away, it's never going to. So as much as I support, let's remember Adam, I'm wondering if we participate in this $100, which I don't mind, I'll do it. But if we participate for Let's Remember Adam, are we gonna have to do it for community living? Are we gonna have to do it for, I haven't got $100 to give everybody, And, but I think it's time that we started at least trying to break even with that building up there. Thank you.
Councillor Mick?
So I guess point of clarification first, we have a policy for these in place?
My understanding is this repeatedly kept coming to the table. And last year, I remember that we asked staff, to start working on a policy. So we don't have to decide on per individual all the time
Sure,
where we go from. So is there a policy? They started a policy,
sure,
but
but we haven't formally adopted one yet.
that's right.
Okay, I have a motion to give both of them free of charge. It's a community building and I don't have any money out of my pocket to give towards it. It provides a service and I think we should encourage it. It fills the gaps in our own services that we aren't providing and a wonderful cause, so I'd put that forward.
Okay, Councillor Gardner?
I just had a point of clarification. Is the policy in place? It's probably more of a procedure, but is it in place? Are we
No.
instituting that right now? Or is this something that's pending to come to council?
If you're asking me, right now, they got an answer from our staff. And they weren't happy with the answer, they're coming to council. So we either say we want a policy in black and white. And that, how do we handle it? You had another comment or?
Yeah, everybody's getting 2-3 tries, I like to have a second one.
Well, I'm asking if you.
Yes, I have.
It's your turn.
Okay, so first of all, let's make it clear. The arena, like you said, Councilor T-Bear, you'd like to have a break-even situation, but the arena is a service that we give to our community. We pay taxes on it. We help organization when we can, okay? Because the money comes back into the community and helps everybody. The arena is a community service, remember that. And I always was told before when I was on council way back, and I still believe it in today. Yes, we need to make some money because we have employees there. That's fine. But that's a service we give it. Same thing with the water department or the public works. Their stuff needs to be done. Even though we don't break that much money in for it, but we're paying for it to our tax base here to give a service for our people and ratepayers. So I totally support Councilor Mick that for this time, since there's no policy written up, there's no bylaw or anything put in place, that we go ahead and give the two of them their free rental for this till we have one put in place.
Okay.
I got one more comment.
Yeah.
Okay? Thank you for the lecture.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. So the thing is though, that we've been doing this for a lot of times and our tax base is one of the highest in this whole region. So we gotta make it, or we gotta do things from this table, okay? I can't vote from this table with my heart. Okay, I have to vote with this and what's best for them. So we have to get our taxes stable and we have to get them down to a point where we can live in this community. So by giving things and giving things and giving things, we're not going to survive here as you know the shape we're in. We've been trying for 4 years almost now to reorganize and get things back to normal so that we can move on and we can help the people in our community. So when I vote from this table, it's with this, or not with this, it's with this. Okay, for the community.
I like to rebuttal, please.
I don't want to get in an argument.
No argument. I just want to make a point that there's no policies or bylaws or guidelines for it. Once it's in place, I will follow the guidelines and the policies, whatever they put there. But at the meantime, till there's one, and there's somebody asking for help and assistance, I don't mind helping out because they pay taxes too as well as we do, and I do. So instead of Mr. Gardner giving his $100 off his pay, let them have the use of the arena for now, and or when the policy comes in, we'll follow it.
Why don't we give them a couple of months, a couple of, a couple of passes to our gym to give away as a gift? Just, something like that, so that we encourage the people to use our gym. We can give them 2 or 3 1-year subscriptions to the gym to raffle off,
That's
something like that. So, but I don't see giving. So anyway, that's it. I'm not gonna say anything else.
Okay, I'd like to have my chance too.
Sure.
First of all, I'd like to commend staff for initiating a policy. Okay, and this policy is for not-for-profit and designated charity organizations. Okay, and it starts right there. Like normal, these organizations would apply to staff for the rental of our municipal space, the hall, the kitchen, the bar, the arena floor. There are many more, but not including ice rental. Ice rental is already in our list of the prices, and that's set. An organization that is a not-for-profit or a designated charity could apply for a rental subsidy of 50%, and that could be approved by staff if we have that policy in place. If the organization does not agree with staff's decision, which is what's happening here tonight, then they can bring their concerns to council, which is what both organizations are doing. I personally would like to see this policy expanded and make it a true policy that council's gonna adopt. And that I'm talking about the free of charge part. To those not-for-profit and or registered charity organizations that provide a local service while improving the quality of life in Mattawa.
Perfect.
And if we can't, if they can prove that and they become a part of the list of, then it becomes automatic. Your organization is on that list for that event, done. It's free of charge. This organization, well, it's a little shadier on, what do you do for the community? Where does the money go? Does it improve the lifestyle of people in Mattawa? That's where we're gonna be able to have call it an elite group if you want, but then we don't have to do this every year. And that's what we were trying to do with a policy, is to try to avoid doing this every single time someone needs a space. So I still like the idea of the 50%. In this case, these are 2 organizations that definitely are local and definitely improve the lifestyle in Mattawa. So I would support them getting it free of charge, and I would support having them included in that part of the policy, which would designate who are the freebies, who are the 50%, who are the 100%.
I totally agree.
And then we're done this charade. So that's where I'm at. And I'll ask for a rebuttal on that. Councilor Gardner.
Again, I'd like to hear from staff. Is this
Certainly.
a policy that is already being instituted? Or is this something that is being asked of council to be instituted in the future? I'm getting mixed
Can you answer that question?
answers from the
please?
table.
Throw a different word at you. It's a practice we've adopted
Okay.
and has not been formulated into policy.
So needs to get put in policy. And then we have no forum making decisions.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's a directive from this table to staff?
I say, if you need a motion, I will support the motion that we allow them this year for the free use of the arena. For both of them. I was gonna go individually, but since you tied them in together, I see. The motion that we go ahead and allow them for this year till the policy is put in place.
Someone to second that? Councillor Mick?
And I'd like that a recorded vote to me.
So the motion is moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Nick. Be it resolved that council waive the hall rental fees at the Mike Rodden Arena for the Let's Remember Adam Washer Tournament being held June 13th, 2026, and the Community Living Washer Tournament being held September 12th, 2026.
Questions, comments? Last go. Councillor T-Bear?
Okay, I just want it known that I'm not against these organizations. And I think they do a great service to our community. But I'm still gonna vote no on the motion.
Don't you put
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
recorded?
Recorded vote by Councillor Levite?
Yep.
We're done with questions.
Councillor White,
Yes.
Councillor Nick,
Yes.
Councillor Teeber,
No.
Councillor Gardner,
No.
and Mayor Boulanger.
Yes.
Motion is carried with a recorded vote of 3 yeas and 2 nays.
Thank you.
Okay, 8.7, Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, protecting Ontario streets and communities. Questions or comments? None. 8.8, AMCTO Advocacy Update Bill 9, Municipal Accountability Act passes third reading. Comments, questions? None. 8.9, Clearview Township, Public Sector Salary Disclosure Inflation Adjustments. Questions, comment?
Don't we already do this, your worship? Like, don't we, every year print what each counselor makes and don't we send out?
Yeah, it's referred to, did you want to answer?
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so what they're referring to is the sunshine list, or
Yeah.
everybody knows it. So they're saying that since 1996, the number was set at 100,000 back then. And their argument is that 100,000 back then is now 180,000 today, with inflation. So they're saying that that number hasn't moved. So they're asking that that number be adjusted. I think that it probably makes sense that something gets tied to a number like the CPI. But I'm also somewhat okay with, if you work in the public sector, then people's taxes pay your salary, then I think people are privy to know, so I'm kind of good both ways.
But I'm a little short of the 100,000.
Any other questions or comments on it? 8.10, Dr. Raz Tanuja, National Dental Care Day, October 10th, 2026. Comments, questions? That's a lengthy one on our.
Is there a cost to this? Like sorry, Richard.
No, go ahead.
Is there a cost to this? Like what are they, like, do we have to set up the clinic in our community if we wanted to get involved in this, or is it a regional clinic or?
It's far as I know, it's Canada-wide. They want to designate a day as your National Dental Care Day, October 10th. And if you agree to it, they have a support resolution attached to it that we can bring back, and it's just to give everybody the opportunity to I don't know how they're gonna do everything in one day. It's kind of weird, but I read a bit of this. It's quite lengthy. It's there's good points to it. But it's something that we either say we support it, or we don't, or we just let it go. So that's up to this table with what you want to do.
I think I read someplace that it only helped like Canada-wide, they only dealt with 400 and some or something like that. Oh, 219.
Yeah,
Canada wide.
that's what I mean, like,
Yeah,
it's
maybe
one
it's-
day, so. So I don't know how they pick the lucky winner even, if you want to call it that, or the person that gets to sit in the dentist chair for a day. But there is it's a proclamation draft, National Dental Care, and it's gonna
Oh,
happen.
that's all it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought they
So-
wanted us to set up a clinic itself.
So we can hereby proclaim that day as National Dental Care Day, or you let it go, no different than the 110 others that we get that, you know, today is, I don't know,
Well, we,
Yeah.
you know,
Green Banana Day and go on.
So at the bottom of your proclamation, just
Yeah.
put that, visit your dental.
Okay,
You make some money at the same time.
Do we want to do anything else with this or no? Okay. So it brings us to 8.11, letter from Luz Zeus, printing of agenda package and noise complaint letter. Council Gardner?
start on the printing the agendas. I've kind of said it a couple times now. I think that it is a little bit crazy that we print out 200 pages times this table and everybody that comes and all of that. And a lot of times they just sit in the door and get thrown out. I'd like to see us get into the 21st century and, you know, buy a couple of iPads or a couple, you know, cheaper Android devices and have those readily available with the agenda on the website for people that need to see it. I know that most people take a look at it before they come, and but yeah, it'd be nice to see that. And then the second one was the noise on Main Street. I agree. If I lived on Main Street, 7 a.m. would be a terrible time to hear leaf blowers going. But at the same time, unfortunately, Main Street doesn't have a day off where it's mostly recreation staff can go down there and do that at a decent time of the day. Unfortunately, businesses are open 7 days a week down there. Sorry, I shouldn't say unfortunately. Fortunately, they're open 7 days a week down there. So they got to do it before the cars get on Main Street. I wouldn't be a happy constituent if I had my truck parked on Main Street and they came by with leaf blowers, you know, while I'm in the grocery store shopping. So I think that's an outlier, and I don't think that would happen anywhere else. I doubt that the staff are jumping on lawnmowers at 7 in the morning or anything like that. But you know, I think common sense hopefully would take care of most of that concern.
Any other comments? Okay, I'd like to, first of all, I do like the recommendation, if you want to call it that, of an 8A and an 8B. Correspondence from constituents, which is few and far in between usually, you know, there may be most times one page and that's it, so maybe that's something we should. And 8B have all your governmental and like this National Dental Day, I believe it was 30 some pages. You know, not everybody needs to see that, nor is interested in seeing it. But anything that comes from the taxpayer constituent, I would support something like that. Maybe something that staff can have a look and maybe it's something we can adopt. And the other thing about yes, I know that 7 o'clock in the morning is, but we pride ourselves on having a clean downtown. Parking starts very early. And I think as long as we're within our town bylaws, our noise bylaw, I see no problem. If the town bylaw says no noise before 7, then it's on after 7, so be it. If it says 11, then you're blowing leaves at 7, well, that's an issue. So I'll leave it at that. Any other comments? No? 8.12, Corporation Township of Papineau Cameron, storm damage and wildfire risk observations. Comments, questions?
I think it's just them supporting Calvin. Calvin was the
Yeah.
originator, right? We already got that.
That's right.
Calvin, yeah.
We've been through that, and Calvin, Bonfield and Papineau Cameron on June 21st last year were hit badly, and the remnants are there, they're everywhere to be seen, and it is a cause for fire, so. And 8.13. United Counties of Leeds and Grenville, support for Municipal Engineers Association. Questions, comments? Which brings us to information reports. Bear with me. So information report, that's 9.1, first one. It's prepared by Paul CAO Treasurer and the Municipal Clerk. The title is Changes to Council Procedure Bylaw and Governance Policy number 3. The report number is 26-24R. Staff?
Thank you. I'll let our clerk sort of set the stage, start on this, and then I can wait.
Thank you. So our procedure bylaws and governance policy has been updated completely in 2024, and then we further did an update in 2025, making some minor changes and removing our committees. So after speaking with council and staff, we're going to propose some further changes to our policy number 3, our council meetings. So we did this by sections. Some of it is just housekeeping. So this first section, 3.1.1 under the preparation. We just have to remove item number 2 from our policy. It's highlighted in the policy that was provided in your package. It was the emailing of all members of a committee. We no longer have the committee, so we just need this section removed. Okay, section 3.1.2 formats. We have a couple changes on this. So the first one that members of council and staff requested was the removal of questions. The question period, questions from the public pertaining to the agenda. So I was tasked on doing some research on this. So I sent out an email to all 444 municipalities on how they have their agendas set and how they conduct everything. So the majority of the responses that I did receive back said that none of their councils allow for this. Any persons that wish to address council, it's done through a delegation. And the reason for this, they said, was so that it eliminates council being unprepared to provide a response to constituents. So this is also a practice that most of the consultants state as well. Fred Dean, who runs a lot of seminars for councils, does not recommend that you have this on your agenda as well. So we are requesting that this be removed. Change number 2 is to the information reports and motions. So we would like to see this change to have 2 types of reports. The one being an information report and the second being an action report. So information reports would be just that. It's just information for council. Let you know what's going on. No motions would be required for this, so you don't have to do a motion to accept the report. You already accept the report when you adopt the agenda. So then you would go to the action reports, and that is like this one, any report that requires council's decision on a certain matter. So that in that point in time, you would have to pass a motion directing staff to do whatever it is that is within that. Change number 3 is the addition of a confirmatory bylaw. So council passes the majority of its business through a resolution. This resolution is just a piece of paper. Okay, it's not anything that council or staff really need to follow to a T because it's not a bylaw. So by adding a confirmatory bylaw at every meeting, which would be the last thing before you adjourn your meeting, would be confirming that all resolutions passed by council are adopted by way of bylaw. So other than you passing the mandatory regulatory bylaws that we do during meetings, this would confirm and tighten up your entire council meeting.
Question?
Yeah.
So, when we now presently, the way it is, we want to make a change to a bylaw, comes back and we amend the bylaw.
Yes.
How would you amend a confirmatory bylaw?
You don't. It's not a bylaw to amend.
Okay,
So if you want to amend one of the resolutions within that, you amend the resolution, but then at the end of the meeting, you pass your confirmatory bylaw. That all those motions within, all the resolutions within that meeting are passed by bylaw. So it overrides the previous one if you've passed a motion.
okay.
Okay, so it's that final motion that you have.
So it doesn't have to come back to be updated or nothing, pass a new resolution and then have your confirmatory bylaw.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the way that is written.
sorry about that.
So then the change number 4 would be on an agenda for the committee of a whole. So we would like to add a new section for new business on a committee of a whole agenda. Staff have had members of council say, well, I just want to add this to new business when it comes to a committee of a whole. And we do have to tell them that it is not allowed. It either has to be a motion or a report, but we don't have a section currently for new business under there. So we would like to add that, and that way there, it just makes it a little bit easier for council members to bring up a new subject in a committee of a whole for discussion as well. So section 3.2.2 under meeting dates. I would just like to change some of the wording for the inaugural meeting. So we needed to better align with the Elections Act and the Municipal Act. So the wording that I would like to put in there is that the clerk shall follow the Municipal Elections Act 1996 with regards to the inaugural meeting and shall conduct the meeting on the first business day of the new council term. The meeting shall consist of the administering of the declarations of office and the oath of allegiance. The head of council will deliver an inaugural speech and there will be no other business conducted at this meeting. And the reason for the change in this wording to put it like this is if there is a recount to be conducted, the way that the wording stands in the current council meeting policy is that inaugural meeting is held on the second Monday in November following a municipal election. Well, just like in 2022, that might not be feasible if we have a recount because there are recount rules that we must follow and that could extend it into December like it did in 22. So just by tightening up this wording, and saying that we will follow the Municipal Elections Act, that gives that precedence to that act and we can put the inaugural meeting at any point in time in the event of a recount.
So you state first business day of the new term of council, so you have a recount, the recount's done on a Wednesday. That means Thursday would be the inaugural meeting?
No, that just means that if the recount, so say our municipal elections this year is October 24th. And then if, with the rules that we've in place, we have to do a recount, well, that recount has to be done within that 2-week period. So then we do that recount, and then you have to give an extra 2 weeks in order to confirm those and to set your inaugural meeting date, which runs past your second meeting in November. So that's all that wording means. So it's not gonna be done the first, like if the recount's the Wednesday, we're not doing it that Thursday, it's gonna be.
The first,
Yeah.
first regular meeting after that. Okay, gotcha.
Recount.
And that's exactly what happened last election,
Yeah.
where everybody else was inaugurated in November and we were December 5th.
Correct,
Okay.
Yeah.
Follow you.
okay, so section 3.5.4 duties of the chair, we're just gonna remove the bullet number 3. Because that referred to the tracking system, which we removed at the last change that was done in 2025. It just was not removed from the policy itself. So that's just housekeeping. We are gonna be removing that from your policy. So section 3.4, electronic participation. So during the course of reviewing these policies, the electronic participation was noted that members shall limit their electronic participation to 12 meetings per calendar year. It was spoken of that after those 12 meetings that they would not get remuneration for it, but it was never put in a policy or anything. So staff and council, certain council members would like this change, stating that after, if a member of council exceeds 12 meetings virtually, that they will not be compensated for the meetings held virtually after that. And this change here, if council agrees to it, would also have to be amended in the remuneration for members of council bylaw as well. So those are all the changes that staff has for council's consideration. You do have all the policies, and I also included in there the agenda format, the current one and the proposed one, so you can see how that would look. And if council has any questions whatsoever, we'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Councillor Mick?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. Some comments later, however you want to go through it, but I'll start with questions. First off, I appreciate the layout with the, this is what it is now, this is what I'm going to change into, it's very helpful. The old business or the new business on the committee of the whole agenda, do we have an old business section on there as well?
No, we don't.
Would it make sense to add both new business and old business, just to have the option, or?
If council wishes, we can do that.
I can bring that up later, but I think why not, leave it
Well,
open.
you're on discussion now, so
Yeah, but I would propose that we add an old business as well too, because I
So we have new business, old business on all agendas.
on the committee of the whole, yeah, all agendas, just, I like that tally of things that we've been talking about, and we can kind of cross them off as we go
that
along.
sounds good. I would go.
And if I can keep going, the 12 virtual meeting limits, is that proposed to switch the wording from the existing wording? Or are you adding that as well? So it's currently members shall limit their use of electronic participation to 12 meetings per calendar year. Are we removing that and adding members will not be compensated for virtual attendance in excess of the 12 meeting limit?
We're just adding, we're proposing just to add the wording to that.
Okay. If we want to talk about it now, I personally would remove the 12 meeting limit completely. But if that's not the appetite of this table, and if I remember past conversations, I don't believe it is. I would suggest that we just replace it, because then it's kind of suggested that we won't be compensated after virtual attendance, and then we still have the option of attending virtually afterwards. Like in case someone is out of town or sick, because the way I read this currently is once you've used up your 12 electronic participation meetings, you don't have the option of attending virtually.
This is per year though, right? Or the whole term,
For calendar year.
calendar year.
But
If I may, thank you, Your Worship, the intention is obviously when it was drafted that. Councilors be present, I mean, that, well, understanding that not always,
Mhm.
that sometimes virtual is the only way. It is not, it was never, I think, intended to. Say you cannot attend beyond 12 virtually.
sure,
But if you do, in order to try to limit the number, then the compensation stops at 12.
right. Which is exactly why I would suggest removing that.
So we can
Membership
make sure the
limit.
wording is clear on that,
Yeah,
but that's, nothing says you can't come after 12, but compensation ceases.
right.
That's clear.
The way I read it, it says now that we can't come after 12, which is kind of the point I'm bringing forward.
We'll make sure we make that clear. Okay?
If I may have another question,
Certainly.
the bylaw at the end. I think I understand, like, it's kind of like housekeeping, just to kind of make things a little tighter administratively. But I don't necessarily agree, or not agree, I don't understand. Like, would it be used, so like, say if we. Like, if I didn't agree with a motion that got passed within the meeting, would it then be in my favor to vote no on this? This new coverall bylaw at the end of the meeting to try and. Like, less enshrine it into the minutes? Do you understand what I'm kind of asking? If I may.
Mayor,
Yep.
if I may, thank you. Yeah, the nature of that is not to get another vote on a resolution.
Right,
It's just that the technicality, the resolution is not really worth the paper it's written on. It's nothing. It
sure,
can't be enforced by law.
right, okay,
So at the end of the meeting, the clerk is suggesting, including in there, that when the council says, all resolutions that were passed are now by law. You don't get to say, I didn't like the resolution. It's not a chance to veto the resolution, it's a chance to convert the resolution into a bylaw, make it enforceable.
right,
That's.
I think Councillor Mick's question is if he votes against a certain resolution, nothing stops him from voting against it.
When he votes against it, it's a vote, anybody
Yeah,
can vote. And-
that's right.
But the intention of the vote is not to undo a motion, the intention of the vote is to make them all bylaws. You have a choice of saying yea or nay, for sure.
And I'll just add to that, the minutes won't change either, so if you vote no to a resolution, like if we do a recorded vote on a resolution and you vote no to that resolution. It's within that bylaw that you did vote no to that resolution.
Only.
right,
Yeah, so you can agree with everything else and you can agree with that confirmatory bylaw. But it is stated in there that you do not agree to that specific resolution.
sure,
Because
okay,
it does form a part of it, it will back up within that, for instance, Councilor Mick voted no.
right, okay.
And it is also stated within our minutes, that won't change as well.
So it would, like, if I may pull up, it would almost be like an acceptance of the report or the agenda, like a second acceptance, accepted, like makes it a little more official. So regardless if I'm voting no, it's like I'm gonna vote yes on this confirmatory bylaw to confirm that I voted no to that previous motion within this bylaw. Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. I have comments, but I those are my questions, so I'll pass it around for now.
Okay, Councillor T-Bear?
I would like to see something in there too, that if somebody is sick or somebody is, in the hospital or, I think they should be compensated. But if I may use you as an example, your worship, would that be okay?
Use me as
Yeah,
example.
I wanted to mention that when you had your heart attack, you were deducted. All those meetings that you were in the hospital, you were at home recuperating.
One meeting,
Oh, it was one meeting?
yeah.
Well, still, I mean, geez, you had a heart attack. If our staff, they have days off, they have sick days, they have, so I think something like that for this council. Is appropriate.
For the staff.
I'm finished. I just wanted to add that something like that should be added. That, if you're in the hospital, if you can't make it to the meeting and you're in a car accident on the way here, something happens like that, I think, you made every effort, or you would have made every effort to be here. And, sickness happens, so. Anyway, thanks.
That's
That's all
not
I
for
have.
me to decide, that's
Yeah,
for this table
that's
to
what I'm
decide, but.
But I just use you as an example, because they did deduct me for that. That's really not fair. It's not,
Councillor Gardner?
Are we doing questions and comments, or are we just
No,
doing, like, I have comments, but I'm waiting for the
I know
appropriate time.
Councillor Mick has comments too, so that was
I'm
the
not,
question.
I would just like to see something like that put in a policy.
Anything
No,
else?
I agree that the tightening up of the agenda and the only thing I have questions on is, motion of reconsideration on a certain, part of the agenda, something that we're not, some says yes, some says no, but it's passed. But if I voted no, is there a part in there where I can have a motion of reconsideration to bring it back up and have my say why I'm bringing it back up, and then they can decide, because you only have one chance for the motion of reconsideration, you can't bring it back after that, right?
Yeah, and you have to be the prevailing side in order to bring back a motion.
Ah, okay,
That is stipulated within this policy.
okay, I got you. Thank you.
We'll move with the comments now? Who wants to go first? Well, maybe I do have a question first.
Hey,
Very first one. Where, and I was part of some, workshops with Fred Dean, and Fred Dean does strongly recommend the, question period. Not to entertain it, but if we don't, I want it to be clear that we have petition and delegations. And should we elaborate on what happens there? Because my understanding now is, so someone from the public writes to the clerk, I have an issue with this and I'd like to make a presentation to council. Okay, do we only listen? Do we have can we ask questions? Do we have to come out with an answer immediately? Like, you know where I'm going with this, like if because at least it's gonna be around a subject that we're expecting, because we'll see our agenda. We can do our research, we can ask the questions, we can say where we go, we can come back in a different meeting with a resolution if required, or should it be done right there? Is that a fair question?
So within your policy, yes, it is a fair question. So within your policy, I'm trying to find the delegation part. It does state that it is questions only. Give me a moment. Presentations. Well. So it does state within your policy, after the presentation, the membership and department head.
Which number?
This is under 3.12.3, presentations by delegation. So it says after the presentation, the membership and department heads shall, as needed, ask questions for clarifications from the delegation. Address questions of department heads and not enter into debate with the delegation respecting the presentation. So we can definitely add anything into that because there's nothing in here other than once it's heard that they can't come back for 12 months for that. And council's decision to deal with the matter is not concluded or substantive changes in the circumstances surrounding the matter have occurred. So there's nothing in there that states that council will pass a motion that night is required. Past practice, what council has been doing is if they do have questions that they want answered from staff or anything, that delegation is added to old business. Directed staff to provide a report or further information that is given to you at the following meeting.
Okay, can we make sure that the wording catches it all? If you,
Yeah,
yeah. Because if we're removing the right to ask questions at a meeting, I want them not to lose it, to have another area where they can actually make it better. Make it better and have a council that's more prepared and it's quite clear, some of the stuff in there, and we're trying not to turn it into a debate. You know, it's get the information, ask the questions you need, and then, you know, how do we give the person's making a presentation and a final answer? So that's what I'm looking for.
now can I question that?
Absolutely.
So within this, you have a presentation of 10 minutes. So that person that is on the delegation, say they have 4 items that they wish to address council on. They have 10 minutes for 4 questions. Does council have an appetite to make that longer of a presentation? While we're tightening up everything like this, that's something for you to ponder as well.
Well, I'd like for whoever has a question, to have the opportunity to bring it up. And we listen, but they also deserve an answer. So if it does take a little bit more time, maybe we should give 15 minutes instead of 10. You know, and limit counselors to each, you know, none of this 5 cracks at it. You ask your questions once and that's it. And then we can, you know, you'll get a formal response, maybe through a staff report, through a council resolution, whatever. Yeah. Good?
Yeah.
Okay, which one do you want to go? Then we're first there, so. So,
I'm good this time?
yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna take my one crack here and get it out. Most of the house cleaning stuff, no problem with. I also flagged just the wording around, like Councillor Mick did around, right now it kind of sounds like you can't participate past 12 meetings, and I'd love to see that lower than 12, but at the same time, I don't feel like we should limit somebody from attending, you know, beyond that. I'm in favor of not paying them beyond that. So I mean, you get 12 of them, but so yeah, just fixing up that wording. The agenda format. Why do we have a different format for committee of the whole? We have consistently treated committee of the whole almost like every other meeting. So why not have the same agenda format for it? And what we've ran into, and we ran into it with the budget, was that there wasn't an opportunity at that meeting that you would typically have at a regular meeting for somebody from the public to ask questions of it when we did the budget. So wouldn't that take care of all of those problems? And the new business, the old business, like we're pretty much at the regular agenda. At this point, the committee of a whole is all of us. It's a council meeting. It's advertised the same. It's recorded the same. It's treated the same, other than the agenda process. So it seems like we kind of treat it like a regular meeting. So why not have the agenda follow that format? And then lastly, the two sides of it on the questions from the public. The counselor side of me appreciates when I have time to do homework. I really try to inform myself as much as I can on topics. I do research before a council meeting on things when I can. So I appreciate when I have a heads up on something. Somebody's coming and they do a delegation. I think the thought was originally that more people would do those, and it doesn't seem to have caught on. But then it gives you an idea of what they're coming about. You can do your research and maybe be more informed when they come and talk to you. The constituent side of me thinks that it's absurd that you can't walk into council and ask questions, and as long as you do in a respectful manner. I think that it's appropriate if you do in a way that is constructive and for the betterment of council and the community. I'm completely in support of having that option for constituents. So I don't want to see it leave. If anything, I've made my point known that we only have the questions from the public at the end. We don't have an opportunity for them to speak before we make decisions, only after decisions are made. And in the end, it's their tax dollars that pay for us to be here, and we work for them. And I think that it's important that we get that feedback from the constituents. So I don't want to see that leave, and I'd like to see more, but I'm willing to live at where we are. That's my one crack at it. Out of the park, done.
Councillor Mick?
Yeah, how do we want to go with this?
I said I got these two and then I'm going to you. I'm following an order.
Should we maybe poke at the question period? I kind of agreed with Councilor Gardner. I'm okay to leave it on. But I've been thinking about this for a while, where I'd love to see a bit of a policy put in place, similar to what they do at the conferences for the Bear Pit when we talk to the ministers. So you get like a 2-minute time frame to ask your question. You get one question, there's no follow-up, and you direct it at a specific counselor. So one person is talking at the table, and then you move on to the next person. So it's a little less all over the place. I've sat in on meetings where the question period went for an hour and 20 minutes, and I think that's a bit much as well. But I tend to agree that it's not the best practice or across the board. I kind of like it on there too. We have a good turnout tonight. I really appreciate people coming out and being involved. So I would also vote to keep it on, but I would also like to see a little bit more structure to the discussion or the question period. Just to make sure we don't lose track of ourselves towards the end.
That's it.
On that one, yeah. I'll wait for
Okay.
the other ones.
Councillor Levite?
Thank you. The delegation come for a person to speak needs to make an appointment, have their 10 minutes or 15, whatever, if they got more than one item. That'll be a discretion to the mayor, right?
Clerk.
Or the clerk, okay. Now, question from the public. I sort of agree with Councillor Matt, where they're not having an opportunity at the start of the meeting to ask questions pertaining to the agenda. But when it's time at the end of the meeting to ask the public questions pertaining to what's on the agenda only, they cannot stand up and speak about whatever they have in their hand or ask a question that has to pertain to the agenda, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what can we do for these people to have an opportunity to have not 10 or 15 minutes, but 5 minutes to ask a question that doesn't pertain to the agenda? because they might not come back here for a while, or plan a time for a certain meeting to be put on the agenda to speak to a council. And us to be able to answer the question.
That's up to council.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see what we can do.
Councillor Tiber?
Yeah, we spent a lot of time trying to get people to come out, and we haven't been very successful. And thank you people for coming out tonight.
For sure.
And I see that, you know, some faces are here every week, and we appreciate that. I wouldn't like to see that section be taken out either. I think that every person that comes to this meeting, if they have a question, they should be allowed to answer it.
Exactly.
Or to ask it. Whether we're prepared or not for the question, then we can tell them, look, we'll check it out, we'll make sure the clerk or whoever checks it out, and we'll get back to you if we don't have the answer right away. So we don't need the answer, okay? Yeah, I would like to see it more informal at a meeting where these people can come out and ask questions. Because I would like to see this place full all the time. Because every time these people ask a question, it helps me to make decisions based on what they're telling me. Because they pay us. They pay us to be here and they pay us to make the right decisions. I mean, I can't always make the right decision, but I do my best to make the right decision for all of us that live in this community. But we have to make it easier, because if these people can't ask questions, they're not gonna come here just to listen to us, but they wanna know things, they wanna ask a question, I think they should be allowed to. Thanks.
Okay. You want to come back for more now?
Depends, like, do you want a motion for this, or are we just doing it?
I think we gotta send it back to the clerk, so he's gonna have to work on it and bring it back.
For that specific,
I see.
Which item you're talking about?
I'm talking all the items.
Oh,
would it make sense to put all our like input in
Absolutely, that's why it's in front of you.
like in an email though? Like, well, I guess what are we looking for? I'm okay to put a motion forward to accept it without the question period removal. And I would like to switch the 12 meetings limit instead of add it. I think that'd be the easiest.
I missed that part.
Like, so instead of adding the part about the section about the 12 meeting limit, we replace the existing part with the new wording. And we leave the question period as is for now.
As is, so you're saying pertaining, questions from the public pertaining to the agenda.
Yeah, leave that off. Just, and then we'll put it on our list of things to do later if we want to make a policy about it. Because it sounds like there's pretty well unanimous support to leave it on from this table. And then I'm going to motion to switch the wording about the 12 meeting limit as opposed to adding it. And I think that would be a little cleaner. And then we can revisit that again later.
Clerk?
So if I may, can I make a suggestion on this?
please.
I agree. So for this evening, if you just want to pass the motion that you've received this report, I do have a lot of feedback from you that I've been making notes. So I do think that it is in the best interest that you send it back. With us staff, we will make the recommended changes to the policy. And then bring that back to council for use to debate on those changes that you suggested for tonight.
Sounds good.
Good, that's good, yeah. For further review.
Correct, yes.
You'll move it.
The second in the report.
You need a second date to accept the report? Okay, moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Mick, be it resolved that Council of the Town of Mattawa receives a report number 26-24R titled Changes to Council Procedures Bylaw and Governance Policy 3. Question, comments? All in favor? Carried. So the next two, I won't do them. Sounds good. Okay, next one, information report, prepared by Councillor Mick. It's titled Mattawa Public Library and it's report number 26-25R. Councillor Mick?
Thank you very much. So yes, we've been asked the library board to put together kind of our vision for the future of the Mattawa Library. This is a pretty broad scope of what we're looking for, but hopefully it'll help paint a more clear picture of what our ideal library situation will look like. I'll go through it relatively quickly. I won't go verbatim, but there's some important stuff to kind of touch on. So for an introduction, for many years, the Mattawa Library served as an important educational and cultural resource within our community. And as the library board looks toward the future, we believe this moment presents a unique opportunity to think beyond simply replacing what was lost and what was there, and instead imagining what Mattawa deserves and could further utilize in the library. So our vision is not a room filled with books. Our vision is more of a community hub that celebrates Mattawa's natural beauty, supports lifelong learning, creates opportunities for social connection, and serves residents of all ages. The library has the potential to become a destination for families, seniors, youth, visitors, entrepreneurs, students, and community organizations alike. So the first point we want to highlight is a library rooted in Mattawa's natural beauty. I've said it a couple times around this table. I do think that Mattawa's natural beauty is one of our most important assets. Uniquely positioned at the meeting of these rivers. Across the board, I think we can all agree that our natural beauty is alive and well. So how do we incorporate this into a library vision? This could be outdoor reading gardens, walking trails or maps connected to library programming, Indigenous and local history, interpretation spaces, outdoor classrooms and gathering spaces, nature-based education programming, bird watching, gardening, seedling exchanges, environmental workshops, partnerships with conservation groups. So rather than being separated from nature, the library would invite residents and visitors to engage with it. The second point, we're looking for a center for children and families. So strong communities invest in children. Our library would hopefully provide a dedicated children's space, story time and literacy programs, summer reading initiatives, STEM and science activities, arts and crafts programming, family game nights, homework and tutoring support, and early childhood learning opportunities. We really believe, it's no shock the libraries a lot of times are geared towards children, but that's very important because it plants that seed for lifelong learning and continued library use. A little older demographic, a place for youth. So many communities struggle to provide safe, welcoming spaces where the youth can gather outside of school hours. It's been quite some time since I think we've had was it the youth program or the youth building up? It's like back when I was in elementary school. And important free as well too, right? We have the arena, we have the ball diamond, but at this point, nothing is free. So the library could hopefully include study spaces, gaming, technology and programs, maker spaces, volunteer opportunities, leadership development programs, creative writing and arts workshops, access to computers and internet. A safe third space where young people can gather, learn, and belong. Another point we were looking at right before the previous library was shut down temporarily, a modern maker space. So as I've said previously, libraries are no longer solely about books and consuming information. They're places where people can create. What this could look like is 3D printers, vinyl cutting and circuit cutting equipment, podcasting and music recording equipment, digital media workstations, sewing and crafting equipment, photography and video resources like cameras, and digital technology workshops. These would provide opportunities for students, entrepreneurs, artists, and community folks alike to explore and develop new ideas. Next, moving along, we're hoping to have a space to provide lifelong learning for everybody. Once again, this kind of theme of not just having books available, but that is a big part of it. But what that could include is digital literacy training, resume and employment support, workshops and guest speakers, adult education opportunities, financial literacy sessions, local history and genealogy resources, community lectures, and language learning resources. All of things is kind of geared towards a bit of an older crowd. Moving along, more of a community living room space. This kind of speaks to that third safe, free space that I was speaking about for the youth, but a little bit more broader scope. Again, the modern needs of community, the social connection. The vision for our new library would include a space to meet friends, neighbors, sit and relax, work remotely, study, attend meetings, host meetings, participate in community events, and access to Wi-Fi and technology. Again, it's that warm, comfortable space that is free to use, free for everyone, and accessible within our community. Kind of like a community living room idea. A little more on emergency preparedness, emergency and warming center capabilities as weather events become increasingly common in this area. Public facilities play an important role in community resilience. We would love to see a space where a future library could be designed with the capacity to serve as a warming center in the winter, a cooling center in the summer, information hub in emergencies. We've seen recently with all the power and Wi-Fi and data services being shut down. Charging stations during power outages and gathering place for community disruptions. Again, it's a safety planning, another community space where people know to reach out at any point that they can access for free. Second to last, a tourism and economic development opportunity. Modern library can also contribute to local economic development. This could look like a visitor information services, exhibits showcasing local history and culture, rotating displays by local artists, spaces for local authors and creators to create or sell their creations or books, business and entrepreneurship resources, and partnerships with tourism organizations. So all of these things, what does our vision look like? We believe that Mattawa deserves more than a storage space for books. We need a place that celebrates our rivers, forests, and history. We want a place that supports literacy and education, provides opportunities for creativity and innovation, serves youth, families, adults, and seniors alike, strengthens community connections, supports tourism and economic development, enhances emergency preparedness, and creates a gathering place for future generations. So we're looking for more than just an investment in a building. We're looking at investment of the people of Mattawa. We're seeing this as an opportunity to become one of the most important public spaces in our community, where learning, creativity, culture, and connection become together under one roof. We believe that the library could be a cost-effective solution to all of these gaps in our social services. We do also agree that this isn't like an overnight fix, but it's a long-term something that we need to get onto paper and work towards taking those first steps towards. there's a piece here where we talk about the importance of a community hub partnership and the opportunity that the library may provide, where it might fall out of the scope of this table to be that facilitator of these community partnerships. The library would serve as a good arm to serve that gap as well. Partnerships could include, but aren't limited to, the museum, the food bank, the visitor information center, the community programming that happens through the rec department at the town. Again, maker spaces, educational workshops, access to these things for the entrepreneurs and community members alike. So we're imagining, rather than all of these things operating independently, that these services could work collaboratively to create a destination, as opposed to satellite organizations. In here, we talk about potential locations. We've come to this table a couple times with some potential locations. Again, we're not really. I get what we're asking is a bit of a unicorn, but we don't see the point in kind of limiting what our ideal dream would look towards. So we're recognizing that a permanent location would require some further study and consultation. But we did want to bring forward that we see that there's several opportunities that exist that could support this broader communication vision or community hub vision. We've talked a little bit about the former Scott's Discount Building on Main Street. Why we really find this attractive is the park next door. Creates opportunities for outdoor programming, community events, children's activities, markets, seasonal celebrations, and keeps the community services in the heart of downtown. We've talked about this a couple times as the through the museum and the information center, partnering with them. All of these are town-owned facilities. So the museum site offers the access to the waterfront, outdoor stage, and existing tourism infrastructure, making it well suited for educational and cultural programming. So we believe there's lots of potential there for partnership. And then finally, we have more recently talked about the current food bank location behind the arena that presents some potential further opportunities for discussion. So if there was appetite from the food bank for potentially relocation, we also kind of like, although it's not very cute, it is a nice space that has that recreation potential, programming potential. The ball diamond's right there, the rink is right there, the community hall is right there for any sort of community programming that the library might want to spearhead. So again, in closing, to sum it all up, the question before council is larger than where to place our library. It's an opportunity to consider how Mattawa can create a central gathering place that reflects its needs of a modern rural community, one that supports learning, culture, tourism, recreation, social services, community connection in a coordinated and sustainable way. Our vision for a community hub would create a place where residents can access services, participate in programs, and learn new skills, connect with neighbors, celebrate our history, support each other in difficult times, and welcome visitors. Our recommendation is to accept this report. And then coming from me, this isn't a suggestion from the library board. I would love to see this brought up to our committee of the whole meeting, and it looks like we have one coming next week, where we could kind of talk about all of our town-owned assets, all those buildings, all of the public spaces, and really just kind of have a bit of a planning session on how we could maximize these municipal assets to their biggest capacity, and whether that looks like a centralized library hub or whether we have some services here, and that could look like shaking up the three or the multiple different boards that run these municipal assets. Again, we're pretty kind of new in this plan, but that's my recommendation, and I thank you for listening to my spiel. All from me.
Questions, Councillor Levesque?
I think it's a good report. It meets all the criteria that the community needs. The only thing is we have to decide where we're gonna put it. I agree 100%. We need a library. I like your vision where you wanna go with it. I think that, I don't know if it's gonna be on Main Street or another structure that the corporation owns, but the thing is when we come to the committee of a whole, maybe we should determine where we're gonna go with this and the money, where we can get grants to fix the structure, whichever one it is. Because there's a lot of money is gonna be needed there, like over close to $500,000. But there's a potential for the Main Street one also, because you can turn around and segments, put the library on one side and you can have retail space on the other side to have income or usage. Door put in to go into Annie's Park so you can have access in and out. Outdoor education like St. Victor School is doing and planning. So there's lots you can do for it, and it's a good help for the community. So I will support this here now. If you make a motion, I'll second.
Councillor Gardner?
Yeah, love the report. I thought that this vision of a library is more kind of what I think community needs than maybe the last one that we've seen.
Right.
I think that libraries need to kind of be reimagined and not just be books anymore. Technology's taken over the world. Kids these days, as important as it is to be able to read and have access to those books, if you don't know how to use technology, you're falling behind with everybody else in the world. So I liked all those things, 3D printers and all that stuff, podcast space, and that's great. I think should be more of a social type place that you can get books at and not just be focused on books. However, I support a library and the idea of a library, but I've been consistent since the library closed that I support it if everybody is paying their equal share of it. And the burden can't just be on Mattawa again. It has to be on everybody in the area that's expected to use it. For years, Mattawa paid for the library and everybody from neighboring municipalities got to use it. It can't be that way. It has to be even. And whether we come up with something, and that group has been meeting, and it sounds like they're meeting again soon. But everybody has to come to the table ready to play ball together and do it in a fair way that's fair for everybody before I think that we even kind of get to this point. I don't know what a library would cost us. Before, I think we were spending about $100,000 a year, and that was at a really reduced rent amount at the school. So like if you were to break it down by residents, and if we were to manage to do it for 100,000, you're not going to, but if you were managed to do it for 100,000 a year, Calvin's share would be 16 or just under 16,000. Is Calvin going to commit to that? Matawan 4,000. Would they commit to that? Papineau 27,000. Are they going to commit to that? If we're not at the table with people who are willing to commit somewhat around those numbers, then I think we're talking for nothing. I think that Mattawa can't afford to host it on their own. So it just kind of seems like we're putting the cart ahead of the horse, trying to find a spot and all that. We don't even know what we have to spend. If collectively we all come together and say this is what we can afford, and it doesn't even break the 6-figure mark, well then it sounds like our library dream is dead. I really think that we're going to be pushing $150,000-$200,000 a year budget for those spaces just to have staff. Minimum wage these days is almost $20 an hour. Add everything onto that. We're talking about buildings in different locations in town. If you do go to a public building where you're renting, the rent is going to be a lot more than what we're used to paying at FJ McElligott. So I hope that we can find a way to do it. I hope that everybody can come together to do it. I think it's important for us to do it, but I'd love to see this go to that committee to take all of these ideas, formulate a plan, a budget, a location, and then come to all the councils and say, this is what we have. This is what we want you guys to approve. And then hopefully all 4 councils or 3 or whoever's in, will all approve that together. But for now, I think if our council says, yeah, this is a great idea, let's do it. Well, we still have other municipalities, I think, that have to agree to it and come to play too, so. Just my thoughts, but great, I love it.
Anybody else? Counselor T-Bear, anything? No?
Well, thanks. Well, I'll just make one comment, is I think the report's well done. Thank you very much for bringing that forward. I agree with Matt saying that, or Councillor Gardner saying that it's gonna be costly, you know. I think it is anyway. And I agree that other municipalities have to pay their fair share or help us to run the library. They also have to do it for the arena. They also have to do it for other things that we're paying the full shot for, and they're using our facilities. So I think I'd like to see other commitment from other municipalities. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Counselor Mick?
Yeah, just like a little final point of that. I find like I get it, where we want support for our neighboring municipalities, but I find it a little exhausting. Like, you know, we haven't had a budget line item for the library this entire term of council, aside from 64,000 to pay for the year before that we didn't give money to kind of pay our staff that we had at the time. And this argument of our neighbors paying the fair share, you know, we put about $600,000 a year into our arena. And so if we want Matawan to put in 4,000 for a library, you know, we could be asking them for 24,000 to go towards our arena. But did we shut down the arena because our neighbors wouldn't give us any money?
Empty service.
No, like, so we are making our residents suffer because we are digging our heels in the ground because our neighbors aren't coughing up any money for our library, you know, so I respectfully disagree that we can't wait until we're all in agreement with our neighbors of what we're going to get, and we're gonna pay this, you know, formula. We look at the landfill. How long have we been, you know, kicking our tires about that, right? You know, the more people we invite to the table to disagree with us, the longer that our residents of Mattawa are gonna be without a library. So I think we need to pick a number. If that's gonna be the 64,000 that we were doing before this council sat, so be it. If it's gonna be a little closer to 100,000, we'll make it work. But at this point, with zero money and zero interest in discussing what the library is going to look like, the longer we're going to go without a library. So I appreciate that everybody appreciates the vision, but at the same time, I think if we sit here and wait for our neighbors to buy in, nothing's gonna get done. And on top of that, I think we need to provide something for them to buy into. They're not going to give us money for nothing. We don't have a location. We don't have a plan. Like, this is a dream for sure, but I think we need to build it, and then we can send them a levy if we would like to, whatever that looks like. But the longer we wait for them to write us a check, the longer our residents are gonna go without a library.
Can I suggest something?
Yep.
For Mr. Mick, is that we need to do a feasibility on this.
We've asked for feasibility studies for the past 4 years, you know, it's
No, I'm just saying that just to figure out whichever structure you want to use, the cost, what needs to be repaired, and run it. I know you want to say everything is free, but if you're to run it like a smaller business aspect, our revenues are going to be coming in. There are assistance from the province and the Northern Ontario library, whatever it is there, do you call it?
Mhm.
So put that plan together and see where we can get started, because if you don't get started, put something together, nobody's going to be partners in it because they don't know what to expect.
Okay, so I think we should do the same thing with this one we did with the last one, accept the report.
Yeah.
Councillor Mick, how difficult would it be to make this presentation to the stakeholder group? Like, they've been coming forward, we've had meetings. You know, and I think they need to hear this,
yeah,
you know, and then, you know, if it's no, it's no. Then we know that, you know, it's not gonna happen, but they might be interested in here and they might have ideas on what they'd like to see also. So I think it's important that this is shared with the other 4 councils.
So would you like to add and further that we share this with the library?
With the stakeholder group, yeah, because the stakeholder group, correct me, Paul, if I'm wrong. They wanted this presentation done to their entire council. So maybe this is an opportunity to get all four councils under one roof. Here's the vision, here's, is it realistic or not? Let's start there. Is, I look at the building you're recommending, you're gonna have to buy it, and then you're gonna have to double up to repair it. And you haven't even started a program in it. And let's not forget, we're installing a new water tower for the town of Mattawa. We're on the line right now. We're reconstructing Main Street. We've already started the project, so money's at a premium right now. So I think if we can do this legwork and to get us on the other side of that and see what makes sense, then we might know, okay, we're alone on this. Then we can either shrink the vision or, cause we gotta live within our means too.
Can you create a timeline for that?
Like,
No, I mean to say,
we don't have any staff, but the library is non-existent at this point.
no, I'm talking about,
I bring these reports
Your
every other
partners.
month and then it's like, oh, there's no money. So I would like to move proposed motion number 2, and if you would like to direct staff to bring it to the library stakeholder committee, sure. But with my library board hat on, the library stakeholder committee has nothing to do with us. Our job is to get a library open. This is the fastest way to do that. I would like to talk about it more in depth with this table at a committee of the whole meeting next week. And then we will have something to bring to the library stakeholder meeting. Because right now the library is nothing. We are a board of volunteers. We don't do feasibility. We can't make decisions on behalf of the town of where we're going to put the library. All we can do is keep bringing these reports, which we have done at least annually since this term of council, if not more. So I'm feeling a little.
I will move for you to
You'll
accept
second?
this report.
And send it to the committee of the whole.
Yes.
We'll talk about it on Monday. Perfect.
That'd be good. Get started and something.
Let's vote on it.
Not like this recorded, please.
Anybody else have any, I'll read the motion and then I'll go around. So moved by Councillor Mick, seconded by Councillor Levite. Be it resolved that council refer the report to the committee of the whole for discussion and consideration of opportunities related to the long-term planning, coordination and delivery of community services and public facilities within the town of Mattawa. And further that the committee of the whole be directed to explore potential partnership opportunities among municipal and community organizations, including but not limited to the Mattawa Public Library, Mattawa Museum, Visitor Information Services, community support organizations, and other public services with the goal of identifying opportunities to improve service delivery, maximize municipal assets, and enhance community assets, access to programs and services. Questions, comments? Councillor Tiber.
Thank you, your worship. The only thing that I missed in this whole thing was what the hell is this gonna cost? And I'm sure that our partners will ask the same questions. Now, are you asking me to agree to this as an idea? Or are you saying, let's move ahead with it, or let's just go to the committee of the whole and then we'll discuss it?
Yes.
But the thing is, nobody's gonna agree to this without a budget. I know that right now.
And that's what the motion reads, is to refer the report to the committee of the whole.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions and comments? Councillor Gardner?
I guess just like referring it to the committee of the whole. Like, we're just gonna do the same thing we're doing now. I think we're just gonna talk it around in circles and get nowhere. In the end, I still think that all of our stakeholders are the ones that have to come up with that and then bring it back. In the end, it's how much. We can look and spend all this time, but if the budget's 200,000, then it's probably not gonna happen. So, you know, like, I don't know. And then at the same time, like, I don't wanna sound like we're playing community organization risk. And public library is like, I don't want the museum to fear for their space. I don't want the, the food bank to fear for their space and think that, like we're coming for their locations and stuff like that. That wasn't the intent of the town taking over those locations. I'm all for efficiencies. I still think in the end, there's a number. I need to know the number before I can get behind supporting more of it. So I like the idea of everything. I think that needs to come out in a number. What is the number that you're asking for? And if it's 100,000, 64,000, 200,000, whatever that number is, that'll determine how much I'm willing to put into it. Like you said, a lot of these things, like, I don't think are council driven things. I think some of these things are staff driven things, but yeah, anyways, I'll leave it at that. I'm in support of a library. Just the process and how we get there, I think I differ than some of my counterparts. So yeah.
Okay, we do have a motion on the table, so we have to vote for it. Comments?
No, that's good.
No? Okay,
Councillor Levesque,
Yes,
Councillor Nick,
Yes.
Councillor Gardner,
No.
Councillor Teeber,
no,
and Mayor Belanger.
no,
Motion is lost with a recorded vote of 2 yeas and 3 nays.
and also I need a motion to accept the report. I mixed up my sheets here, so. Yeah. So the motion is moved by Councillor Mick, seconded by Councillor Gardner. Be it resolved that council of the town of Mattawa receives report number 26-25R titled Mattawa Public Library. Question, comments? All in favor? Carried. And this doesn't mean that the library idea is dead, it just means that we gotta find a different route. Okay, the next one is 9.3. It's a line of credit and banking services. It's report number 26-26R. And the report was prepared by our CEO treasurer, Paul.
Thanks, Your Worship. I guess the report should probably preface with, given the large projects that the town has embarked on, predominantly Dorian Road project, which is a $4.7 million project, if you remember. And the timing of being reimbursed by the province, we have to dish out the money and then file a claim and wait a month or 2 or 3 to get paid back, but our contractors want to be paid immediately. And so the $500,000 line of credit that we had was woefully inadequate. And in October of 2024, council passed a resolution to go and secure a $2 million line of credit. So we started down that process. And if you remember back in 2024, our financial state was such that we hadn't had audits done in 22 and 23 and 24. Budgets were lacking. And so our existing bank were not really wanting to touch us. And we also had large loan facility, $5.6 million line with a loan, on the affordable seniors housing. And so therefore we weren't wanting to seem to be a good candidate for them to lend us more money. Anyway, So that was back in 24, and now we are today. So we still need a line of credit and still been chasing Scotia because that's their existing banker, but they have no real interest in doing business with us. And
Jesus.
so we thought that would be easy to bump the line from 500,000 to 2 million, but they said no. So we've been discussing with the case. And they have a new appetite, and now the conversations have gone where they've made a proposal to us to provide a $2 million line of credit. And so the offer is that you got a $2 million line of credit. Then we're gonna have a line of credit for the credit cards, which we have 3 or 4 of them. Our existing amount is 100,000 with the Scotia. I imagine that's gonna roll over about the same thing. Of course, for them, they said, if you're gonna have a $2 million line of credit, we want your banking business. And that just makes a lot of sense. That's how it works. And of course, they provide investment account, they'll provide bridge financing for long-term projects, i.e. the water reservoir, the main street, the bridge. And they have a full slate of state-of-the-art banking services available. And I think from the biggest thing for me is all our costs, bank charges is 0. No bank charges of any kind. Now, on the flip side, they'll also not pay any interest on any bank balance that we have. I guess for them, we don't have a whole lot of bank balances for them to give us interest on, but I'm thinking that we will someday. And when that happens, if we ever have a large surplus cash, we'll just move the money over to an interest-bearing account, savings account, earn interest on that, and then draw from it when we need it from operating. They have all the EFTs, you know, and they'll come and they'll train their staff, including their costs, on how to use their accounting system. And the nice thing too is, you know, obviously the case is located in Ottawa. It's the only other one out in Scotia, and that's important. And their managers are, you know, some staff here, but management's in North Bay. Whereas right now, in Scotia, our rep is in the GTA. So I'd much rather take a drive to North Bay and see our banker than have to drive to Toronto. You know, there's going to be some administrative headaches to switch. There always are, but we'll go through it. I think I'd shared their interest that they had offered on the line of credit is prime plus a half, and then they wanted $10,000 to just initiate the line. So I said no. I said I want either prime or prime plus a quarter, and $10,000 too much. So they've come back with prime and a quarter, prime plus 1/4, and $5,000 fee. And that is your offer before you. And my recommendation is that you accept that, and that council approves this report and approves the transitioning of our banking services to Case Alliance. And understand that means it's not going to happen overnight. The transition of a bank takes us over time, as we have to just automatic debits coming off everywhere. So we got to transition out of that. But we want to take our business to Case Alliance.
Councilor Levite.
Well, I mentioned that way back when I was on council back in '84, that we should do some business with the case. We have now, because of the housing project in the valley, $5.6 million, and the interest that they make on it. The Bank of Nova Scotia decided that they do not want to support the municipality on this $2 million overdraft. So I think what we gotta do is move on. And all the system that we have with the Bank of Nova Scotia eventually gonna shift over, like from your payroll system, the whole works, right?
Mhm.
And accounts of enumeration and whatever bills you pay, hydro and natural gas and the works. and for Aqua, right? Okay, so then I am 100% move over, and if you need, I like to move the motion that we do, really, because I've asked that way back then, and I think we should do it now. That's all I have to say. So,
Councillor Mick?
Did we shop around to other big banks? I kind of understand, shopping locally when it comes to things that aren't $200 million with interest and finance and all that fun stuff. I do get that the case is a little different because it's not a big bank, but if we're talking
big,
savings, well, they're a credit union, right? They're a little more local. But if we're talking big savings with other big banks, is that a possibility as well? Like, have we shopped around a bit or?
No, so the rules of engagement that were given to us was that banking at the state local, the main reason is deposits.
Okay,
I'm not gonna drive to Toronto or North Bay to put a cash deposit in the bank. We only have two horses to bet on in town, this is Scotia, which we're with, and the other one is the case. So if there was other banks here, I'd be happy to entertain them, but imagine Voyager days. For example, coming out with proceeds for the night and have to put them in the trunk of your car and drive to wherever to put them in a secure spot.
Yeah.
So it's not really, or just interactions with other with the folks here. It's from a doing business, it's much better to have your banker here. When private, you can have your bank anywhere in the world, but from a business standpoint, there's a benefit to having your banker local. So we didn't go anywhere.
I totally agree.
can I follow up real quick?
Yep.
The only other thing, like I get that, but if it's gonna save us like $100,000 a year to go to some bank and drive to Toronto, a couple trips to Toronto is not gonna cost us $100,000, you know what I mean? But
But we do daily, weekly deposits, right?
with, we could quit taking cash.
We're not there.
2026 guys.
Yeah, there We're trying to get non-cash for tax billings, but that's not going on either. So people still like cash.
Councillor Gardner?
Yeah, I think that, we preach supporting local and I think I get where you're coming from and saying that if it saves us hundreds of thousands, I don't think that would be the case. The case, okay. I think that the Case Populaire or Case Alliance now does a great job in supporting things around the community. They give back. I think they just gave some chairs, I think I seen on Facebook last week that were put up at the information center. They're always doing things like that, supporting beautification committee, supporting other organizations in town and stuff like that. So, I think that it's important for us to support one of the two banks that we have in town because it would be a shame to see either one of them leave. So I think it's important that people have those two options in town, but if they're in the area of what we've been accustomed to paying with Scotiabank, then I think it makes sense.
You too.
I like the idea of moving to the case. I think it's the normal route to take. I do believe that they all agree with like Matt, the Council Garden said was about them contributing to our community. When we talked about the Algonquin nursing home refurbishing, they gave us $70,000. So, they do support our community and they build on. And I think they're a full service bank. They're not just a credit union, they're a full service bank. They're registered.
They're legally accredited. union.
Yeah, but they're registered as a full bank, like
They
they're
provide full
service, yeah, okay.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I'll second the motion that Councilor Levesque made.
I'll make that recorded too, please.
No other questions, so the motion is moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Tiber. Be it resolved that Council of the Town of Mattawa receives report number 26-26R titled Line of Credit and Banking Services. Questions, comments? None?
Counselor LeBlanc,
Yes.
Counselor Hubert,
Yes.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
Counselor Mick,
Yes.
and Mayor Belanger.
Yes.
Motion is carried unanimously.
And the next part, I will move it. I need a seconder. So moved by moved by Mayor Belanger. Seconded by Councillor Tiber. Be it resolved that council approves transitioning banking services to Case Alliance. And further that council directs staff to bring back a borrowing bylaw for a $2 million line of credit. And I will ask for a recorded vote. Questions, comments?
Mayor Belanger,
Yes.
Counselor Hubert,
Yes.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Yep.
Counselor Mick,
Yes.
and Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
Motion is carried unanimously.
Okay, next are two bylaws. So bylaw 26-13. Tax ratio for 2026. Being a bylaw for establishing tax ratios for the current taxation year. This was delayed from 2 meetings ago, so we're back on track and you need a mover and a seconder, please.
Collect our taxes.
And seconder. So moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that council of the corporation of the town of Mattawa adopt bylaw 26-13. Being a bylaw for establishing tax ratios for the current taxation year. Questions, comments?
Recorded too.
Question? Comment.
Comment?
Yeah, just my yearly rant about it. I don't support that we give discounts to vacant or unused properties in town. We got very little property left. We're spending millions on trying to develop more. We have people that are sitting on commercial and residential properties that they're doing nothing with. I think if we tax them at the same rate as everybody else, obviously they'd be paying less because their valuation is less. But if we use the same rate, I think it would encourage them to move that property or that building over to somebody that will do something with it. So that's my yearly complaint for it.
Councillor Levite?
I think we should ask our CEO or the staff to come back with a report on this. To see what can we do accordingly to the Ontario law for us to change the structure on vacant land to allow us to collect more money. And some places in other townships, when you buy a piece of land, you can put a trailer on it for 3 years. But after 3 years, you have to build, or otherwise you gotta get off of it. And at the same time, they charge for that trailer sitting on that property, so we should be looking at what we can do to sort of try to get some income out of it and force them to do something with the empty lots. That's my comments. Thank you.
Did you have a comment?
Oh, no.
No, okay. Can you take note of that for next taxation year, next council, that's something that
You look
you
into
know, we've looked into it, see if they vacant or not, that there's worth the same. Force people to either utilize it or sell it. Please and thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Hubert?
No,
No
thank
question?
you.
Okay, and there's no more questions, and recorded vote was requested by Councillor Levite.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Yes.
Counselor Mick,
No.
Counselor Hubert,
Yes.
Councillor Gardner,
No.
and Mayor Belanger.
Yes.
Motion is carried with a recorded vote of 3 yeas and 2 nays.
Thank you. And 10.2, bylaw 26-14, rate of taxation for 2026. Being a bylaw to fix the tax rates and to provide for the levy and collection of municipal and education taxes for the year 2026. Need a mover and a seconder.
They get it done, it's. Finish it.
Seconder. So the motion is moved by Councillor Levite, seconded by Councillor Mick. Be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Mattawa adopt bylaw 26-14, being a bylaw to fix the tax rates and to provide for the levy and collection of municipal and education taxes for the year 2026.
Record it, please.
Any questions or comments? Councillor Tiber.
I thought that they were getting rid, can I ask the clerk your worship?
Absolutely.
Wasn't the ministry going to, we were gonna be allowed not to collect the education tax portion of the taxes? They were gonna leave it up to, I read it someplace, where did I read that? No. The government was putting a policy together.
Not that we read, but we always have to collect education.
Yeah, I know that right now,
You want
but I
to
think
answer
they
that?
were talking about,
Ask him.
Councillor Gardner.
Yeah, what you're referring to is that currently we pay directly to the school boards, so we collect everything, pay out to the school boards. My understanding is that the change is going to be we collect and we pay to the province pays to the school boards.
That's how it's gonna.
We still collect.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
if they exist.
Mhm.
I'm glad you do your study before.
Yeah, we're still looking. Any other questions? Comments? Councillor Gardner?
Just our municipal rate, talk about taxes and how much it is to live in the town of Mattawa, and we need to make ourselves appealing. Our rate is 0.020 and change. Neighboring municipality, 0.012. So, you know, you're buying $500,000 house in Mattawa, $500,000 house in a neighboring municipality. You know, probably 50, 60, 70% more in taxes. So I know that your valuation would probably be more in town because of the services that you have, but just again, throwing it out there that we need to be conscious with taxpayers' dollars to get that rate down to what everybody else is at.
Rebuttal on that, I think we have been, when you look at the last 2 years of 1.79 and 2.1.
Yeah.
So eventually we'll catch up. Any other question or comments? Okay, recorded vote request by Councillor Levite.
Councillor Levite,
Yes.
Councillor Net,
No.
Councillor Gardner,
No.
Councillor Tiber,
Yes,
and Mayor Belanger.
Yes.
Motion is carried with a recorded vote of 3 yeas and 2 nays.
Okay, old business, so we've heard your report, so we're good to go there. New business, there is
Yes.
none.
Yes.
I have none on the agenda.
Well, I just wanna make a comment, that's all I want in new business. That's when you're allowed to speak, aren't you?
No, new business, you're supposed to bring it on to the agenda and then we talk about it. So that brings us to questions
Sorry, I had comments on old business before.
on
we
old
jumped-
business.
Yeah, before you jumped ahead.
Oh,
On
okay.
old business, the library proposal is report 2601. We got a new report tonight, obviously. What are we doing with that? Like, I don't just want it to be dropped, but are we going to replace
I
the
think
old report with the new report? Are we
It's
just keeping library proposal on there? Like,
I think, well, I'll ask the clerk just to remove from report number 2601, just keep library proposal.
Okay.
How's that? Okay. There are no new business. Questions from the public pertaining to the agenda? Sylvia,
I guess it's addressed to Councilor Warren, for the library, have you ever considered, now I heard about the Scottish discount? And this may be for all of us too. You ever, considered partnering with, bringing the gym one side and the library the other side? Bringing more, public on Main Street? Bring in, the fees from the gym and would help pay. Now, in the library part of it, I heard something about there'd be no fee.
Yeah, we
Like with the library, there should be some form of fee, like it.
Well, I can answer it in two parts.
Okay.
We're absolutely into discussing partnerships, but that was voted down tonight that we won't be doing that on Monday. So the library board is willing to, but we don't have staff and we don't have money coming in, so there's very limited stuff that we can do other than bring these reports to council that have been voted down.
But I guess my question for the gym part of it was
Yeah.
for all of the counselors and there was a grant for the gym.
So
Has the procedures gone through with the gym? Would that not be a good idea to bring it in with the library at Scott's discount?
I won't speak to whether it's a good idea or not, but I can speak to that the library is not allowed to charge for library services. That's kind of legislated in the Library Act, but it would be a possibility, and I agree that our current gym is kind of, could use a facelift. It's in a dusty old basement, and no matter how many new machines you put in there, it's still could use a facelift.
And wasn't there a grant
but
for the gym?
But we would be allowed to, house those in the same building and charge for the gym and have the library services for free. If I understand correctly, there was a grant for new equipment.
Yeah,
Right.
so that would help your part in some ways, that there would be a location,
would.
there would be a something, maybe something for the council to think of.
It seems like there's not an appetite to have that conversation as we saw just 20 minutes ago. So I agree, but there's not an appetite to have that conversation.
How do you get on the library committee, or that's a? You
Well,
can't.
There's an application and it's every 4 years. It comes with the new council term. So after the election in the fall, there'll be call for applications to the library board.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Thank you.
Councillor Gardner?
I might be pushing the envelope, but just a rebuttal. The library should still have money in the bank, correct? There was 50,000, something like that when they closed.
We have about 40 grand. in the
40
bank.
grand, okay, so 40 grand in the bank, so there's some money to, if you want to hire somebody to come up with a proposal or something like that, short term. On the side, I think that's a possibility. And then to the gym, the money, there's also doing some renovations to the building and stuff as we own the curling club. So the roof, the siding, the insulation, I think is part of it. I know there was a bunch of new equipment bought. I don't know if it's all there now, but there was some new equipment involved. So yeah, I agree. It's not a great place for a gym, but I'd love to see it elsewhere, and I'd love to see us consolidate some of our things, but at the same time, I don't want to own more buildings. So if we can do it within our existing building structure, it'd be awesome.
No, but it would beautify Main Street, it would build Main Street also.
Any other questions? Crystal?
So mine's just in 9.1, the changes to the council procedures. I'm just wondering why staff and council are proposing changes right when you're right before an election. That's something that you want to discuss with the new council, if you're proposing changes that will carry over into their.
My answer to that is, we review that annually. So it's our job to renew it, and when the new council comes in, they'll take it over from there.
You just don't change it.
Yeah, so it's not something you write up and you leave,
No, there was just a lengthy discussion about it, and I was just wondering why
because there
so
was,
much right now, and you're just moving into an election.
because it's brand new. It was, all revamped in 24. 25, we did that exercise. There was more in 26. So it's, something that you gotta try it, you gotta see what works, what doesn't, and you adjust from there. And there's nothing that stops the future council from scrapping it all. It's not Bible. Any other questions?
Can I ask one more?
Gary?
Actually, I wanted to comment, it was in regards to the arena piece. And you guys answered it perfectly the way I wanted it to go, so like, thank you very much. Nonprofits, anything to help out this community should be getting in place, use those facilities to earn more resources to put towards their campaigns. And I totally get, it doesn't run for free, but there is a need to help out certain communities or certain groups.
Thank you for the comment. Sylvie, you have another question?
Well, last one. Have you started with the gym renovations? Has this all been started or is
I
something?
think staff could answer that better than council.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not, something I do know, it's not transferable.
No, grant was
Bad move.
issued for
If
that.
you try that, you'd lose the whole grant. Any other questions from the public? Which brings us to the adjournment.
Before you adjourn, I just wanted to say, I thank you to Mr. Anderson for allowing, the people that did all the sandbagging, loan the equipment. And backhoe, brought that in order, and Dan O'Grady that was organizing a lot of it, and a lot of people came in, Packno Fire Department, some from Calvin, local people, and he left the machinery there for Dan to operate, so thank you very much for it.
You'll move it? Okay, I need a seconder. So moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Mick, be it resolved that this regular meeting adjourn at 8:26 P.M. Questions, comments? All in favor? Carried.
Thanks for coming.